Welcome to the Sticky Trifle Podcast.
And I'm heading back to the gym. Not for me personally, because I'm kind of fit. But we're actually going to Fraserburgh Fitness Center. It's the house that Albert Ross built for you guys. And a weird thing is, I kind of like looking at folk when they're looking in the mirror at themselves in the gyms. Done your son. Come on, Barty, give that thing a good pounding. Boy, next time's doing a bit better, eh?
Welcome to Sticky Trifle Podcast. Sticky Trifle Podcast.
Sticky Trifle Podcast number 54, and my guest today at Fraserburgh Fitness Center is Shane Weir.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Errol.
I'm chuffed you're on.
Thank you.
And the reason you're on, actually, I had a couple of students name checking you.
Okay.
Saying, can I get on? Shane Weir. I'm going, first Shane Weir.
Aye.
And then I didn't ken, right? But when I'd been looking at it, was a competition in Belfast.
I was, 4 or 5 weeks
And I
ago.
didn't even ken you was on this picture. I said,
Aye.
where's this guy who's
Aye,
been
we've been
competing?
cut
And cut heat, and you've got a scar here.
Aye.
So it's for competing.
That was for the fight, aye.
Right, how brutal was that fight, by the way?
It was quite a fast-paced fight. It was probably one of the most fast-paced fights I've ever had. That was my 15th fight in total, if you include the one boxing fight I had. But it was definitely the most fast-paced. It wasn't so much brutal. I wasn't, up until that point, I wasn't much big shots, but it was all go for the bell. First round all go, second round all go, third round all go, and it was going quite good. I would say I was winning the fight up until that point. Then he just landed a good kick. I rushed in and
Lucky
he caught
shot.
clean.
Lucky shot.
That's what we'll say. We'll say lucky shot.
Now listen, before we get started, will you have a drink?
Aye,
I've got an Rubicon raspberry and pineapple.
Sounds good.
Now we could have had a beer, but I ken you're into fitness, so does that mean you didn't drink alcohol?
I'll a wee bit. Not too much now. Not as much as I would have done in my younger days.
So you're quite happy with alcohol?
Aye. I would say I've got my local, which is a bank car. I would go down there for a wee pint on Sunday, but cheers. But it wouldn't be too much.
How you find it? Raspberry and pineapple?
Oh, that's good actually. That's good.
Aye, good stuff. Right, so career-wise, so am I right in saying are you the assistant manager here?
I am, yeah.
And before that, was you a sous chef?
I was a chef. I was a sous chef for must have been 3-4 years, and before that I was chef de partie. Before that I was a commis chef, which is just your different names for the different levels.
So did this evolve when you left school? Did you have an interest in the catering side of things?
Well, even before I left school, I started dishwashing when I was, it must have been roughly 12.
And far was you?
At Leisure Centre. Leisure Centre
okay.
Then. Started when I was about 11, 12, and then I was 15, just to want to leave school, and I was a chef left. And my option, I'd got into 2 college courses at a college, but I was a chef left the Leisure Centre area.
And so you didn't go with the college?
No, so I didn't go with the college. I heard like, £7 an hour. I'm only on like £3.50 an hour. That sounds amazing.
Right.
I'm for that. Although, I could have went on and done I was in for electrical engineering and joinery or something like that. I think it was general building.
And so you probably did a better decision, did you?
In the end, it worked out. I could have made a lot more money doing one of the other things rather than a chefing, and worked more sociable hours. But it's worked out much better. And knew that I'm here. And I enjoy the chefing, but it's an unsociable job.
Because
it's a stressful job as well.
Abdi's saying fun at weekends, and you're a guy
You're
cooking in the kitchen
9-10 o'clock at night. You're there all on a Saturday night, Friday night, Sunday night.
A hot job, innit?
Aye, really,
so
really hot.
Was there times that kind of had a wee side for you? Went, I've had enough of this.
I really enjoyed it for years. The only reason I really like, I would have always been doing that if it wasn't for the fact I got into my fitness so much. 'Cause I did love it, and I still love cooking. I would still really enjoy it, probably more now than I did then, because I didn't have to do it every hour of the day.
So, let's speak about at home. Are you married or got a partner?
I've got a fiancée.
You've got a fiancée?
Aye, and we've got a little girl as well.
You've got a little girl now, great.
A second
Second in the wife?
Second in the wife.
Have you not got TV in the house?
No, we do. Too much lockdowns, that's what it is.
You're right there. But it's awful fine to hear that, so you've a family environment going on here. Now, if you didn't mind, can I ask your age, Shane?
26.
26?
Just turned 26 a couple of weeks ago.
Right, okay. And so, how long have you been doing a kickboxing side of things?
I think I was 17, just about to turn 18, so that would be 6, 7, 8, almost 7 years.
Right, okay.
Aye, 6, 7, 8, almost 9 years, sorry.
9 years?
Aye, almost 9
wow.
years.
And going back to you was born in the Broch, am I right?
I was Broch all my days until obviously I got with my partner. She's fae Crimond, so
and she went, yes, Shane, come on,
let's
move
out
with
to Broch. And for ages I thought, oh no, I never want to move out to Broch. I like Broch, and it was the best thing I ever did, moving to the village, because so fine and quiet, compared to the Broch.
More content for you now.
Aye, so it's really nice. I really enjoy it there.
So how long's that you been Crimond now?
Be coming up 5 year next month. 5 year.
Moving away from that Crimond side, going back to school days. How was you at school? Because obviously you're in kind of combat sport stuff, and
so
was you a fighter at school?
I was. I was fighting. I was excluded a couple of times.
What was the problem?
I think I had a chip on my shoulder. I really did. I mean, I was picked on quite a lot in primary, and I think that just left me with a chip in my shoulder for years, up until I turned 15, 16, and then I kind of started to grow up a wee bit and realised, I said, there's no need to be fighting with Abdi. And even then, I would have still done it a wee bit until I got into the kickboxing when I was 17, 18. I would have still been fighting on nights out and things like that, and it was just.
Are we speaking? Was there ever like police involvement with us fighting in? No,
I was never police involvement. No, I was once when I was playing football, but it wasn't just me. I was just the football players are fan out with the other football players, and it was almost this big kind of scrap. But I was just being daft and young, 14, 15.
And so
them boys will be boys, I suppose.
So fun was this realisation side when you thought this fighting's not happening here? It's not working.
I don't know. Probably the main kind of time was probably when I started kickboxing, and I think once you realise that kickboxing makes you realise you're not as tough as you think. You step in the ring with somebody bigger than you, somebody stronger than you, somebody more experienced, and they just batter you, and you're like, oh.
Well, two guys I've had fights with in the past. One was a guy called Albert Ross. I knocked him out. And a guy called McDonald. Knocked him out clean out. So, and I haven't fighted since.
No,
because they both says.
I'd say you've knocked out the two hardest men in the Broch. So
you're maybe a third one. You're maybe a third. I hope they're not watching us.
I'm sure Albert will.
So anyway, so the fighting side of things. So you started going to the gym and stuff. I presume. Did that?
I started the gym quite young. I started going to the gym when I was 12, 13. Obviously, not here because I was at 16 for the used to be for the gym here. But there was another gym in the Broch, a private gym.
Yep.
That I kind of started when I was 12, 13 until I turned 16, and then I started coming here.
And so did it just start off, you was doing this for exercise purposes?
I just it was a young loon that just wanted to get really muscly and kept really getting strong, kind of get big and wee muscle and that kind of thing. Just wanted to lift heavy weights, as most young loons with a big ego do. But as you grew out of that and lifting big weights although I lift weights quite regular, but lifting big weights and getting big and strong, it doesn't interest me.
And so far was this transition when you was lifting the weights into the
kickboxing? Even my pals, my flatmate at the time, when I was at 17, 18, because I moved out at 16, so my flatmate when I was 17, 18, he says to me, you need to come to kickboxing, it'll stop you fighting. And for ages I was like, no, I'm not going to bother. And then one night I was like, he'd been nipping my head, and I was like, I said, I'll come to kickboxing, I'll try it out and see if I like it. I always watched a lot of boxing, I was always interested in boxing, but I was like, kicking, it's not going to be for me, I think I'll just stick to boxing, I'll get into boxing or something. And then the day that his kickboxing class started, my flatmate his pal started winding him up like, can you hit a spar on your first night? I'm like, I'm gonna hit like fight Abdi, and they're like, oh why? Can you hit a fight these big 6 fat heavyweights? You'll hit a spar Mr. Ross, and I'm like, oh no. Maybe I want to go. Maybe I want to go.
They was winding you up.
They was winding him up. I was terrified. I'm like, oh no. Came into class, didn't spar. You didn't start off in the sparring, and I've never looked back since. Just got into like more and more and more. Got into the teaching side.
And the teaching side of things. So, how do you find out? Because you're working. How much is in a class?
It can vary. So the adults classes are usually between 10 and 20, and the kids classes. So I've got 4 of them on a Friday, and there's one to 15 to 30.
And so from there coming in, are you getting the odd person? You go, wow, this is like a mini version of me.
Aye.
I presume it happens now and again.
I think it's only happened with once, and she's still one of my students yet. She reminds me a lot on me when I was younger, nothing like that. And so when you do see folk like that, you do try to kind of look out for them. You try to look out for them.
There's like a connect happens. And so that's the other thing I was going to mention. When you're doing this teaching with Abdi, how hard is it for you to keep motivated enough? Because sometimes I presume, kind of like some days you get rainy days. Are you always motivated?
They motivate me more than anything. Especially like the Eans that are now kind of coming up to fighting. We've got a big fight night hopefully planned for in July in the Broch, and there'll be a lot of the Eans that are like 15. I've been teaching them for like 5-6 years now. Hopefully get them fighting and stuff like that. But up until that last fight when I got the cut in Belfast, I was ready to stop fighting and just focus on coaching. There's only a handful of folk came up, but I had said this is going to be my last fight. I'm just going to focus on coaching. I'm not going to fight train on the mare because I can't do them both. I can't give 50% to training and 50%.
It's going to have to be 100% to one of them, isn't it?
And that was my mindset. And then I went into that fight, and I just had, it was the best 6 minutes of my life. The adrenaline, the thrill. I've never, even though I lost and I got cut open and I had to get about 30 stitches. It was the best fight I've ever had, and it was the most enjoyment I've ever had in the ring. So I was like, I can't give this up. So I thought I need to find a way to make the two work together, the coaching and the training myself. So I got one of the coaches that helped me on a Friday night. I said to him, I said, right, I want you to come along to the Friday, the fighter classes. And what I did is, instead of having an adults fighter class and a junior fighters class, I actually merged them. So we are the senior juniors, I call them, but it's like a fighters that are like 12 and above. So I've now merged them with the adults, and so now I can actually go in and train amongst them whilst coaching them, and I've got a couple others helping me coach them as well. So it's kind of worked out in their favour, because I'm now sparring with them constantly, and they've got more coaches, so it's worked out.
Now see the competing side of things, like that last fight you had in Belfast. Far as enjoyment of getting hut by somebody else, I'm trying to figure this out, Shane. So
it's undescribable.
But you was hitting him and
Aye.
But so like, so see if you get a kicks and stuff.
Aye.
Are you thinking, right, I'm going to punish you back for this?
Aye, definitely. Aye. That's how I kind of try and teach my juniors to think as well. Is if somebody hits you, you hit them back 10 times harder when you're in the ring. Kind of, you've got to be in that mindset. You can't be in the mindset of somebody hits you and you go, oh no, that was really hard. Kind of, I'd say game over then. If you think like that, you've lost. So you've got to think. If they land someone on you, you've got to think, right, okay, I'll wait for that coming and I'll get you back.
Does that mean you've got to get into that mindset when you're what idea competing with somebody that you've got to be angry?
No. Some people, I think everybody's different. Everybody goes into a fight with a totally different mindset, and I think that's a good thing as well. My mindset, no, I didn't get angry. I've tried that. I've tried like hyping myself up and getting myself really angry, and I just end up knocking myself out because I'm trying to take their heat off. And same me, there's a guy I train actually, and he's one of the fittest folk I've ever trained in my life. He'll do sprints and then jump in and just batter you in the ring. He's so strong, so fit, and when he was coming up to his first fight, I was like, look at this, he's got to do so well here, Ken. Like, his fitness is on another level. But he was in that mindset that he had to get angry. So he just went in and just tried every single shot he threw was a haymaker. And he knockered after the first round. He was just done, knockered.
So he kind of burned himself out.
You burn yourself out, aye. But some people it'll work for them. So I think everybody's different. I've tried it, didn't work for me. I've tried getting myself hyped up, didn't work. I've tried taking folks' head off in the first round. Doesn't work. Well, I mean, it does for some, but no, not for me. I'm not a brawler. I'd rather be a technical fighter and move about, hit and move.
And that's the other thing I was going to touch up on, because you mentioned about like when you was at school, you was slightly overweight. Were we right in saying that?
I would say probably more than slightly. Aye.
But you're new. You're definitely
no.
So back then, was that like, was you just eating too much, no exercising for there? Or was you meant to be like a overweight person the rest of your life?
No, I mean, when I was really young, I wasn't. I went to bed with my granny for 2 years, well, a year and a half, 2 years.
And she was buying you sweeties?
Pretty much, aye. She was just filling me out of the gunnels. Like it was like get up, breakfast, a snack before school. Ken bag was filled with
iron brew
at
supper time.
So it was just like I was just fed, and ended up just really overweight.
And so, was there bullying going on with you in school?
Aye, in academy. So I ended up having to move school and primary.
Because of the bullying? Wow. So that's
bullying.
Quite a big thing to happen in your life.
I think it was primary 3. I was at South Park, and then I had to move away there to St Andrews because I was getting picked on. But I was getting picked on, and then I ended up fighting. Then I was getting in trouble for the fighting. But it was like, I remember my mum coming up to school and she's like, well, he has to stick up for himself, Ken. He's just getting picked on. So the easiest option was just get out of there, kind of thing. So I moved to St Andrews, fine for a year or two, and then I ended up getting bullied again in primary, again 5, 6 or something like that.
So it was a known thing, like never left you. It was an ongoing thing.
I definitely through even in academy, and I think that's why I had such a chip on my shoulder. I think it was just due to the bullying, I suppose.
Is that like you find yourself forgiven so much folk knew, or have you still got a wee bit?
I would see most of them, not on a weekly basis, but definitely I would see a lot of them on a monthly basis. A lot of them come to the gym, a lot of them come to the sunbeds. A lot of them I ended up pals weekend through in my late teens. And I've never got any issue. We're all young, Ken, we all these stupid things, and I thought I hate bullying, and I really try and push all the juniors that I teach against bullying. I tell them there's just no place for that in martial arts, but we're all young and we all make silly mistakes, and me getting about with my chip on my shoulder because of it was a big mistake as well. There was no need for that, but
if you could go back to that time now, how would you have reacted different, or how would you have dealt with
definitely.
it?
I would choose not to go about with such a chip on my shoulder and just fighting with Abdi, because they say one thing out of line, you let it go of your shoulder now, you let it go of your head, that'd phase you. So
you feel like it didn't really, the fighting back then, it didn't really address anything, did it?
No.
Would it be right saying that?
No, I don't think it's affected my later life or anything like that at all. No, not at all.
Hobbies and interests now, because obviously you're here quite a lot, are you?
Aye, well,
are you here every day?
Aye, well, 6 days a week.
So for day you off?
Sunday. Sunday's my day to chill, and then occasionally go for a wee pint. That's
you will unwind that day.
I definitely unwind that. I'll still sometimes go for a run, or I'll take it yesterday. I took a burn out on the bike, just around the village, but got a wee bike seat and that, and just do something to get active, and I like doing stuff with the burn as well.
And so being a father figure, how do you find that?
It's great. There's nothing.
And you notice, see when a baby comes in a go, you lost a bit of, see our thing was about me, about me. Sudden you've got a little and you're going, it's now about them.
I'd say my weekends new, it's all about what we got to do with the burn, what we got to do before we got to go, Ken, and it's great, I love it, we just...
So you're getting a lot of positive energy from being a parent?
Definitely. I mean, we've always got our niece and nephew as well, so for years we've had young bairns in the house all the time, kind of thing, and it's how we like it. So
family life going good?
Definitely.
And you wouldn't getting back to single life?
No, no.
Competing in so you're kind of, are you on the verge of saying maybe you should?
No,
you're still going to keep going.
I was after that fight. I mean, we're hoping to maybe line up a rematch. And Mrs. doesn't care that, so it'll be interesting if she sees this. But we're hoping for the fight for Belfast, because it was such a fast pace. It was a really entertaining fight. We're maybe going to line up a rematch, but this time be for a British title.
But really, getting the cut, that stopped the fight.
Yes, So the doctor and the referee both went, it's too open. So I think you can maybe see that I was a couple brain cells in there somewhere at one point.
Right. And you've got a lot of other folk going to this competitions now for here.
Aye, I think we're hoping to have about 20 of us fighting. There's a big team coming off in Northern Ireland, pro kick team.
And where's this going to take place, by the way?
The Big Hall at Leisure Centre.
Right, it's always going to be a leisure centre for people.
Aye, I mean, hope so. A Leisure Centre's obviously got the biggest hall. They've got the most kind of convenient hall in the area for having a bigger kind of show. I mean, you could hear a lot of leans at like maybe 200-300 folk in the other halls and stuff, but we try and hear like 500 folk at them. We're past 2, we've had 500 people at each. So we like it, but a Big Hall at Leisure Centre is good for it.
So with the kickboxing, see, like when you're doing this combat, what's the difference between a boxing? Because I kind of boxing's just your fist, but kickboxing is feet and
Aye, so you get different types of kickboxing as well. So you get it's called full contact kickboxing, which is where you wear long trousers and all kicks are above the waist. And you boxing, just your boxing, same as boxing. You've got all your hands, you've got your hooks, uppercuts, straights. But you've got your legs, which you can kick to the body and you can kick to the head. You've then got low kick kickboxing, which you wear shorts and you wear like a big leather instep and most amateurs. And you can kick at thighs as well as a body and the head. And then you've got K1, which is for ID, which is the same as a low kick, but you can then also use your knees. So you can knee to the body, knee to the thighs, or like in my most recent fight we agreed to do like pro rules, even though we're amateurs. If both camps agree and you're reasonably experienced fighters, you could do like professional rules, which is bare shin, so you don't wear a like protection on your no padding on your shin, and you can do knees to the head as well, instead of just the body in most amateurs. And
so when you're doing a kickboxing, like we've got in boxing gloves here also and stuff, but is wearing the headgear?
Amateurs do, we didn't. So if both camps agree, after you've had kind of a couple fights, well, usually in your first couple of fights you have to wear a head guard. I've always been really, really lucky that in the case that I never like him. I feel like my head's like I feel like I'm an easy target when I've got a head guard on. I can't move the same. So I never liked him, and I always nip Mr. Ross's head saying, "Please don't make me wear a head guard. Please don't make me wear a head guard." And he's like, "Fine, but if you get end up a cut and marked and nothing like that, don't blame me." I was like, "Fine." And he's like, "But just remember, Ken, in your first fight or your first couple of fights, they might mark you wearing." I'm like, dreading it. Went into the first fight and first couple of fights, and I'm like, "Oh, Ken, do we hate to wear a head guard?" And the organiser would be like, "Then if both of these want to agree to wearing, he's to hate it." So I've had 15 fights and I've never had to wearing. Quite lucky.
And let's speak about when you're actually competing. Okay, you're meeting this person and you've never fought him before. Do you do a bit of research about him? Do you find out about him online?
I used to, and my.
Well, you've come across a video of them.
Aye, so like
in a match or something.
Aye, it's funny. Like I now see it. Everything that Mr. Ross says to me in my first kind of between 5 and 10 fights, I now see myself saying that to all my students, because I'd be like, "Oh, Ken, what's his name? What's his name?" I'll get his name. What's his club? So I'll be on YouTube looking for him, Facebook, Instagram, Ken, like try to find out as much as I could about him, watch his fights.
Weaknesses.
And Albert's like, "Can you? Then I need to go look up, Ken. Like you'll go in and you'll fight your fight. He'll fight his fight. The better fighter will come out." And I'm like, I've still got to go look up though. And I did that for probably like 7 or 8 fights or something like that. I did that for. And
so the latest guy, did you do research on him?
No, I mean I did ken him already. This club's quite close with the Pro Kick Club over in Northern Ireland,
right? Okay.
For Belfast. So Mr. Ross has worked with Mr. Murray for 20 years or something like that, quite a long time, doing shows and fights and stuff like that. So they were over here a couple of years ago, and the boy fought in Belfast there, Ali Reza. He fought a student of mine, William Stewart. So William bet Ali Reza then, but now it's obviously 2 years on. Ali Reza's had a few more fights, a bit more experienced, and so now it was my turn to step in with him.
And the anxiety side of things, like see a week before a fight, even the night before a fight, do you get a worry?
No, and all my students are going to be watching this and you call me an absolute liar, because I always tell them it's normal to get nervous and that everybody gets nervous, but for some reason I've only been nervous once, and some folk might think that's not true, Kings. I mean, most folk do get nervous for a fight, which is perfectly normal. I mean, nerves is one of the things that do keep us alive. but for some reason I just didn't get it.
It's not
It's
even
not-
the eye contact. When you're
no.
looking,
I get
and
excited. I get like really like sometimes I've been too excited that I need to like tell myself to calm down, because adrenaline kicks in when you're in a fight, and adrenaline can just sap your energy. So sometimes Albert's like, you need to just calm down, because I'm just like jumping about, like buzzing and go kind of thing. But I was one fight I got nervous for, and that was my first time fighting in Northern Ireland.
But was that because you're in a different location now, maybe?
Aye, so it was my first time fighting out of the country. I think it was maybe my 4th or 5th fight in total. First time fighting out of Scotland, and so we had to travel in the flight or nothing like that on the same day as a fight. And I was alright at that point. Didn't think nothing know it. And then you do like a wee. Sometimes quite often you'll weigh in together. You'll go on the scales, check your weight. Then you get a wee photo, kind of posing and stuff like that for the social media and that. So that was fine. So we got in this room, and Billy Murray says, "Can your opponent's over there? We'll get you on him for a minute, and we'll get photos." And I looked on him, and I'm like, didn't look like much. Just another fight. And then we went on the scales, and we got a photo like this, and I'm like, hold on a minute, you're about 6 foot tall. Matthew Kerr was his name, and that day I was absolutely bricking it.
And if it was outcome out much,
he won by 1 point.
Oh,
he
won by unlucky.
He won by 1 point. And we actually rematched for a title, but I didn't, for whatever reason I can't remember, but I didn't train for the rematch, and then my performance in the rematch was absolutely shocking.
So see, when you're doing this competing, how much weeks do you spend getting ready for it? Are we speaking like 6-7 weeks, or
you could be speaking 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks. It really
does it make it worse? Like the longer you're preparing, because is it no better to get out the road quicker? That's what I mean.
Aye, sometimes aye and sometimes no. Like this scene, I think everybody would be different as well. Like one of my coaches, Mr. Morrison, he was a professional fighter. He had his kind of possibly his last fight a couple of years ago. Hopefully he'll hit a couple more, but we'll see. But he every time he went to a fight, cornering a fighter, kind of like as a coach, taking younger fighters, doing with him to fight. He would always take his full kit bag. He would take his shins, his gloves, his gum shield, heat guard, his trousers, shorts, whatever. He took everything in his boot, because he loved a last minute fight, and he performed better on like a last minute fight. Can just jump, so and so's pulled out, we need a fighter. I'll fight, and then he would go. And I've so new when I take fighters doing places, I like that kind of mentality. If a fight comes up when you're there, you just go for it. So I knew when I go to like mark competitions or fight nights, stuff like that with fighters, I always pack my kit, just because I think it's a really good mentality to always be ready, even if you haven't prepared.
Aye.
Kind of like you're a fighter or you're not a fighter.
Aye, and you definitely are a fighter. No. Can we speak about an hour? Because you used to do chef and that stuff, but how's your diet?
Really good, aye.
So, like, do you do a lot of the cooking now since you was a chef at home in the house? And
can I say, my fiance is a really good cook as well, so we do both do a lot of cooking. But I've got a much wider range of things I like. I like on just about on thing. There's really not a lot of foods I didn't like, apart from seafood, which is quite rare up us.
So will you have takeaway? Would you have takeaway?
Oh, I would have takeaway, aye.
Like once a week or no?
And maybe once a week.
Once a month?
Aye, maybe once a month, aye. And the very odd occasion, maybe a couple of times a month.
Favourite takeaway?
Favourite takeaway?
If you had to pick some way.
Oh, I'd say to say probably Greasy D's Chippy up in Buchan Road.
Right. And that if you was, what would it be? What would you pick anyway?
Probably the pizza. The deep fried pizza.
And that's the other thing. If you're relaxing nights, is there a road bar of chocolate comes out of sweeties, or are you very disciplined now?
No. I didn't think. I think it's better not to think about it like that. Like I always tell my clients, like if you fancy something fine, eat something fine. The more you deprive yourself, the more you gotta want it. It's like if somebody doesn't want to stop smoking, and you keep telling them, "Don't smoke," the more they're gonna do it. And that's it. And it's exactly the same. If you want to hate chocolate, just have a bit. Don't deprive yourself of it. Just don't go and eat the big share bar yourself.
Makes sense.
No, chocolate's not something I would eat a great deal of, to be honest. I'd be more like kind of a digestive, and with a cup of tea in bed. That would be the go-to.
So
go-to treat.
Like at home and Do you do a bit of reading, or are you a TV guy, or?
Definitely a TV guy.
Right.
I mean, my New Year's resolution was to read more. I keep telling myself I've got books.
I'm the same.
But I just didn't read them.
I've this bookcase and they just sit there. I keep saying I'm going to read it. Never have.
I know, I'm exact same. I end up just watching TV all the time.
Now, before we go, I've got a question for you for somebody you can and train.
Okay.
Jordan, if you don't mind,
Aye.
Jordan's asking, are you going to be growing on him on a taller?
No, I didn't think so. I think 5'6" is about the head.
That's alright, because it didn't come from me acting for Jordan. Okay, so ask him that before you go. Right, it's great to see what's happening with you here. And
Thank you.
if I'm hearing, you are the future of this place.
I hope so. I wouldn't say I'm the future. No, I says if you've seen some of the 15-year-olds, one of them you teach is Reese.
That's right.
If you've seen the likes of him in some ways, the other guys his age, and training and sparring, you would see straight away after the future.
But like at the same time, it's great to see you inspiring the younger range, and they're starting to pick up all your advice and use it to their advantage.
Aye, hope so.
So I'm wishing you all the best for the future here.
Thank you very much, Errol.
I've loved hearing you on. Actually, it's been half easy to speak to you.
Is it?
Oh, you've just
That's good.
came out and says how it is and things like that. But I hope you find more time to relax in our future.
I do. I enjoy my relaxing time is actually when I go out a wee run. I just like a wee route a day around the village, and with the dog, me and the dog go out.
What kind of dog do you have?
Collie Dalmatian.
Right, okay.
And we just go out. And near fast run. I don't enjoy a kind of fast paced run.
Yeah, right.
I just like going out and my own pace in the countryside around the village, and just it's like my downtime.
Excellent. It's great to hear that. Right, so all the best for the future.
Thank you very much.
And this is twice I've been doing.
Aye.
So
just a Ross on as well.
It's enjoyable when I come down here, and Abdi makes me feel so welcome for them coming out and saying, "Is it okay if I do a bit of filming?" Abdi's like, "Oh wait, why? We'll easily do that for you." Like
Good.
So, and it's such I love the brightness of the place actually.
It's a
welcoming
keep it
place.
Kind of up to date and modern as much as we can.
Aye. Right, and so just before we go, fun you going to be? If this rematch takes place, is it going to be this year?
Yes, it'll be just over a month away. It'll be 9th of July at Fraserburgh Leisure Centre.
9th of July.
And there'll be 20 brokers, 20 locals are fighting folk from Northern Ireland coming off of Belfast. A really good, strong team. We've definitely got work cut out for us. But me and the rest of the team, we're pushing it. Training harder than we ever have, so I'm really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to seeing how the other fighters come on since the last. Some of them haven't fought in 2 years because of COVID. So I'm
kind of scared here. It's your outcome I'm scared about. If it happens should we say it? If it happens if you did lose?
Well, that's it. Ollie would walk away the better man. He would walk away with the belt around his waist, and would look at what else would be lined up for the rest of the year. Obviously, I'll probably take a month or two off with expecting our second burn, but. Hopefully get another renown.
However, you've got new tactics. Aye, you're right. You're keeping that close to your chest.
No, it's at last fight. I just didn't have the time to train because I was trying to balance the teaching and the training separate. Knew that I've kind of tried to put it together. It's made a big difference, and I would say I've already trained more just in the past 4 weeks than I did in the 12 weeks building up to that fight. Trained a lot harder as well. When I've got the other coaches coming, they're pushing me a bit more as well. So no, it's good. I think I'll definitely go on a different fighter, but hey, he might as well. Everybody's always advancing. Everybody's always trying to improve themselves. The pro kick team, they've got a lot of solid fighters and pros in their team. So it wouldn't be easy, but I think we can pull it off a second time round.
Right. We can easily get us gear on, and I'll give a quick session. I'll show you how.
My legs are a bit turned up in my run, so take it easy.
I'm joking. Right, thank you very much, Shane Weir on the Sticky Trifle podcast, and we'll be back next week with our next guest. So, see you later.
Thanks for having me, Errol.
See ya.
Sticky Trifle Podcast.
Sticky Trifle podcast will return next week.
transforming takes time to change into the person you want to be. And in Shane's case, he is that person he wants to be. And as for the cuts and bruises he picks up along the way, well, maybe his family heals them. He's still on a treadmill. Look, he's still there.
Sticky.
Danielson, wax on, wax off. Hold on, does this place do massages? Ah.
I'll have a milk and 2 sugars, please, love. Thank you very much.
And after all that exercise and workouts, I think it's time to get out of here. And is Love Island's on tonight, isn't it? Love Island. See you next Sunday. Bye.
Sticky Trifle Podcast.